Hi everyone, I'm Carmen. I work at LHH for 7 years and today we are in Zurich. We have a special guest, Giuseppe.
Good afternoon, nice to meet you.
Good afternoon and nice to meet you. Me and Giuseppe, we come from the same part of Italy and we are both expats here in Switzerland. So Giuseppe, the first question that I would like to ask you is that did you get used to the long coffee here in Switzerland, or are you sticking with espresso?
Well, as true Napolitan and Italian, I have to say that after 15 years, I can't really get rid of my lovely espresso every day, which sounds a little bit strange for my German fellow colleagues, but it is what it is, because the Italian roots are not changeable from this perspective.
Thank you for clarifying that. All right, so Giuseppe, I would like you to present yourself and you can dive into your career and to tell us more about who you are.
I'm Giuseppe, I'm Italian, 44 years old. I come from Naples, but I've been living and working here in Switzerland since 2008, so for the last more than 15 years. In a global T1 bank based here in Zurich, although with different experiences in my past professional career. I'm not coming from the financial sector because my field of study was aerospace engineering, led of course by passion, but then the different circumstances led me to have different roles into my professional life, in particularly spanning from consulting in different areas, from industry to services, then moving to financial services, and then building a particular expertise in the area of risk management of financial and non-financial services.
Would you like to tell us more about your last recruitment process? Can you take us through?
I have to say that the last recruitment process was very positive. First of all, the starting point that can be a little bit different from what happens to many candidates was the fact that I was not the trigger of the interest, but I was more the receiver of interest from another company and a recruitment company. I have to say that sincerely this kept me a little bit in an unexpected position. I had to then digest and realize that interest, because in my current work we were very much focused on what we had to deliver in the current circumstances. So the focus was there, so I had to, first of all, understand, then I had to research, then I had a lot of positive feedback and interaction with the recruiter, which was very open to better explain the position, the skills required, technical and soft skill, but also putting myself in a cozy situation where I could have interacted positively with both the recruiter and the hiring company. So it was very positive from that perspective.
What were the main factors that pushed you to accept this opportunity, this job?
It was, of course, a process. So I had to go through different steps of this process to better acknowledge my experience, expertise to the hiring company and the recruiter, but at the same time to better understand also from myself the position itself I was put in. I have to say that it's very much important to understand what are the requirements, not only the technical requirements. Of course, you bring your expertise with you, but at the same time, you also bring soft skills that the experience that you gather through the years will help you improve in an implicit way. You don't have to do trainings, but you start developing yourself in these soft skills. And it was combined requests from the hiring company that were actually looked for. And I had also the opportunity to bring together both. So it was, of course, a right match.
Very interesting point. So you mentioned that you had certain technical skills and then the company had to train you for soft skills. How important do you think for a candidate to have, both sets of skills?
It's crucial. The point is the technical skills are also related to the background, to the learning by doing and training on the job that you get every day, particularly working with more experienced people. Soft skill is something that you need also to invest yourself in. I have many examples of people very much focused on the technical piece, but not able to convey that expertise in terms of technicality of what they are good at to the others because they lack of soft skills. I think that the higher you go also in a senior position, the more important is to have the good combination of both. And in some cases, it's even more important to have a good communication skills that will help you convey also the message that you want to convey, your expertise, even though that expertise is not as strong as you wish.
Can you share best practices for a clear and transparent communication between candidates and hiring managers?
If I look at my experience, the clear communication is also triggered by transparency. So sometimes if I put myself in the candidate's shoes, you have just an aseptic job ads and you need to better understand if you're fit for purpose through the words that you read. This is very much bypassed the moment you have the first interaction with the recruiter, or the hiring manager, because their perspective puts transparency in what you are reading and trying to understand. That level of transparency and the culture of feedback is very much important to establish the right connection and also help candidates and hiring managers to know better each other, to go a little bit behind the pure skill matrix match, but trying to know people also better from the soft skill perspective. That's very much important. I think this is the good mix that the candidates and the hiring managers have to have into the communication. Put clearly on the table what are the expectations based, of course, on your seniority, on your experience, what is the role, not hiding any critical elements of the role itself, because someone can be scared, but other people candidating for that position can be very much enthusiastic about that. And this puts additional emphasis to the fact that they are fit for purpose. So the transparency is very much built upon clear communication and culture of feedback from both parts.
In your experience, from a candidate's perspective, how can a candidate outstand in a selection process?
Well, of course, you cannot compare yourself with the others because you don't know the others, you don't know what they bring. From my perspective, be yourself. Don't actually show off, but just show who you are, what you can bring, not only from an expertise point of view, but also in terms of human relationship. The fact that you can build relations with people that are your potential future colleagues and your line manager goes, from my perspective, behind a pure expertise from a technical point of view. Because we need to think about that with the people we work with, we spend much more time than with our family. So we need, or we are forced to build relationships. And in order to be successful in your role, or the one that you are candidated for, you need also to build a good personal relationship. So this is, I would say, very much important, to be yourself and to show the hiring manager that you are yourself since the beginning. You are not actually playing a role, but yourself.
I'm curious, how did your professional international background affect your career here in Switzerland?
I think it was bidirectional, simply because the different culture mixed up with other cultures, not only the Swiss one, but the German and for instance, Asian APEC cultures, or the pure British way of working created most of the times the right mix, because there are different attitudes that we are able to convey into the work and into the relations that we are able to build. It's very much important because actually, from my side, the Italian way of doing things, a little bit of creativity was very much complementary with the rigidness, for instance, of a pure German approach of doing things very seriously, on time, and in the proper way, then mixed up with also the way we can put the things together from a British background. So each and every culture in an international team has the right component. It has to be mixed up correctly, which means that you don't have to be fully rigid in putting yourself with your experience into the conversation or into discussing something related to work, but try to find the right mix. So make one step back, ensuring that the others will make also one step back so that you create the right mix. But definitely the international background and also the international environment in which I worked with and I'm working today helps a lot to go behind certain tensions, try to find the right word, to distress a little bit the environment at the right moment, and create good empathy. This is very much important among the people you're working with.
And if you had to give some advice, practical advice to young professionals that look up to you and that think, okay, one day I really would like to be or, to have a job like Giuseppe is, what advice will you give them?
So definitely I can provide you some useful tips, so to say. So first, research about the company who you are interested in to better understand their culture and if you are fitting for purpose. Then be open and transparent since the first interview with the recruiter or the hiring manager to show who you are. Then, of course, ask for transparency in order to provide you and the others positive or negative feedback to help each other to grow and better understand you are the fit for purpose. And then ask questions. During the recruitment process, there's always the possibility to ask questions, exploit this opportunity to better know the counterpart and if you're fitting for purpose.
What do you think about coaching?
Coaching is something that is already part of my role as a senior management. So I'm coaching many times the team. I do think that coaching is crucial because in particular when you have young people, young colleagues, that level of inexperience sometimes leads them to do something that you shouldn't expect or something that you would not advise to do. So I think that coaching is crucial to avoid these moments and to help others grow in something that at the moment they are not good at or they are improving. So the experience put at the service of the youngers. That's very much important.
Okay. From the company's perspective instead, what do you think that companies nowadays can improve in the recruitment process when recruiting a candidate?
I was part of many recruitment processes in my past and current experience. I have to say that sometimes companies are very much stuck on the skill metrics assessment. So am I getting the right person that fits 100% what I require, and on top of it, he is very good at communication, on top of it, he's a strategist, he's a people manager, and is potentially also young. We are not living in Wonderland. So I think that from a company perspective, what we did was, okay, let's try first of all to look at the background of these people. Let's try to understand what is the good mix that we want to have in terms of hard and soft skill. And then let's meet as many people as possible, because the moment you meet people, you need to understand not only if they would be good at what we are asking them to do, but also if they are good colleagues. They potentially be good colleagues in terms of human relationship. So don't be fixed in structure of the skills that require, but try to understand and to meet as many people as possible to broaden the possibility to actually find a good candidate, because that mix in terms of hard and soft skill can be balanced also with investments that you do with the people in growing them into the company. So that's also something that must not be underestimated. You're making an investment, which means that you don't have to look at the short term, but try to imagine that person in mid-long term. That's very much important.
Usually, or sometimes, companies will reject candidates because they don't look suitable on paper. So they are not like these perfect candidates they are looking for. So the role as a recruiter, I think, could influence the selection process, because we will present candidates that otherwise would not have the possibility to meet a client. So what do you think about this?
I mean, the role of the recruiter is crucial today. I mean, think about the fact that sometimes the youngers, even though they are coming out from the university, are not very much professional in a way to prepare their curriculum vitae, for instance. But they bring something. I think that from a recruiter perspective, it's crucial to create the right glue between the hiring company and the potential candidates, and also be the advisor for the candidates to prepare themselves at the best, even presenting themselves objectively through a resume to the hiring company in a way that you are able to provide talents, even though the talents were not able to present themselves as such. So it's crucial from my perspective. And in this socialized world, the role of the recruiter, in particularly in the different channels that we have today, becomes even more important, because sometimes you need also to better understand the reality of what has been published, what has been collected, if it's a kind of feasibility check that will be also the business card for the hiring company of each and every person that you as a recruiter will select.
From a company perspective, would you use AI to select a candidate?
Definitely not. I would use AI to do other things, but not definitely to select people. AI, as the two letters says, it's artificial intelligence, but there's no extra human entity defining the rules and the logic of this artificial intelligence. We should set the logic of this artificial intelligence, which means that in selecting people, I would actually tell the rules to AI to select my people. I would do the selection on my own as a human being. And the AI doesn't have the human interaction. So a pre-selection with AI definitely would not be something that I would use. As a hiring company, I would prefer to rely on a human being, a recruiter who can provide with different criteria, a pre-selection process, also coming back to your previous question, and then definitely have full human interaction. AI is the future that will take over many different jobs from human beings, but not definitely the selection of the talents.
How is artificial intelligence influencing your industry, finance and banking?
It's already influencing different processes. Definitely in, for instance, high-intensity trading. For instance, you have already artificial intelligence bots that are screening the market and trying to understand what is the best trading window to make investments. If I look at more my area in the risk management, of course, the controlling piece, where you have an established NFA process and you have many controls to the different non-financial risks associated to the activities of a financial institute, then you can implement AI to have a more efficient control of the framework with, of course, a reduced amount of resources. You can implement artificial intelligence for different risk modeling solutions, so that you can have more reliable models that will have a better control of the financial investments of an institute. So it's already a reality in certain areas. It's under development in others, but it's definitely the future. But it's not most, from my perspective, fit for purpose the moment it comes to actually the human aspect of the work. This implies that we need to rethink some jobs, and we need to rethink also how people will develop themselves in the professional environment where they are, because AI will take over many tasks. So people need to more focus on the softer relationship aspects of their job rather than a pure execution and operations.
Reconnecting to the question about AI and recruitment, what are, according to you, the risks for companies that use AI to select their talents?
Well, I think that the major risk that we have is to miss opportunities, because AI will simply screen what is provided and make some external connections to your social media that will try to build a picture of a person, which is most probably a fake picture in the end. So it's very much useful the moment it comes to the hard skills, the expertise, because AI can screen everything and try to make logical connection to see if you're a good fit for purpose, but it will miss, from my perspective, the human aspect. So in the end, the soft skills will not be caught in this analysis process, because AI will not have the opportunity to meet and interact as a human being with another human being and try to better understand that soft connection that will end up in, for hiring managers, say, I would work with that person.
Is there anything that comes to your mind that you would like to share with us, like that could be really cool for us as a company? Feedback for recruiters.
Feedback for recruiters.
Yes.
Right, it's interesting. Sometimes it's important that the recruiter makes the right mix between the expectations of the hiring company and the wishes of a candidate. And I have to say that sometimes, in particular today, where everything is TikTok timed, everybody discusses a few things. So I want a better job-life balance. And on the other side, the company says, okay, if this guy cannot work 150% of his time, but only 80%, it's not a good match. So I think that the recruiter has to try to find the right trade-off between the expectation of the current candidates population and the expectation of the company, taking into account that sometimes you are in front of the right candidate, but you need to make one step back as a company to ensure that you get it and you try to exploit as much as he or she can bring into it. And from a candidate perspective, being convinced that that step back from the company is the right sign for you to actually marry the company because it's the right place to go with the proper matching of your expectations in terms of culture and in terms of work-life balance and so forth. That's very much important. And if I have to say, it's important, but it's not decisive, the economic aspect. If you really find that position, that culture is the right one for you to go to the next level, then the money aspect can be also secondary.
I think we covered a lot of topics today, so thank you very much, Giuseppe.
Thanks to you.
I really want to invite you out for a pizza.
Definitely. Let's find out the good Napolitan pizza.